crybabies. They're just lined up on the walls.
Children. They make the world go round, but not when their world is upside down. In most cultures across the continent of Africa, the birth of a child isn't just an incomparable gift from God, but a psychological ego booster and a socio-cultural indication of formidability and status upgrade. These traditional and cultural inclinations have over the years cast shadows of illegitimacy on parenthood by adoption, leading to a subtle blanket stigma on adopting parents and their adopted children.
Growing up, Obiageli hated and never quite understood the stigma surrounding adoptive parenting. And in that early stage of her life, the dream to change the narrative and reinvent the wheel was born. Hence, the Crowning Grace Home Foundation and Crowning Grace Schools.
Growing up as a young child, I always felt, why would one woman have 10 children? Or I want a boy, so I'll go on and have all the girls in the world. If you so much want a boy and you have 3 girls, why don't you go to any home and take up a boy child and care for that child instead of going to have 10, 12 children and endanger your own life? I didn't see the need for that.
Obi has a heart for mankind, very loving and very, very, very caring. That is who she is.
The kind of person she is, wanting to help humanity in one way or the other, bothering about the interests of the less privileged. It's something really amazing for me.
She's a pillar, a bundle of energies. When she believes in anything, she gives all of herself. So she's what the Bible calls a cheerful giver.
More than a quarter of the world's over 140 million orphans live in Africa. And according to verified UNICEF data, Nigeria had an orphan population of 9.7 million in 2008. By 2015, that number had jumped to a whopping 17.5 million orphans and has since soared past the 20 million mark in 2022. Understandably, most of these orphans die from treatable diseases, hunger, and negligence. Only a few make it to homes like Crowning Grace, where quality care in a loving, godly, organic traditional family atmosphere is guaranteed.
The Crowning Grace Foundation is really a foundation born out of love for humanity.
So we want to create citizenship, children that grow up with civic responsibility, not just knowing their rights, but having a sense of responsibility.
Children need love, irrespective of how they find themselves to this world. They just must be cared for, and someone needs to take responsibility.
David Platt once said, taking care of the orphans or the motherless babies or people that are weak or deprived in society is not because one is a rescuer, but because we are rescued people.
One thing is certain: morals. If you don't make extra efforts to get them to the right path, the society will take them to where you never will imagine.
The good old African proverb says that it takes a village to raise a child, but that's under normal circumstances. What happens when the circumstances surrounding the child is delicate, sensitive, complicated, and desperate? What happens when there are children rather than just a child? Arguably, it'll take more than just a village, and Crowning Grace is well acquainted with this reality.
Obi believes in education, that it's a right for the child, and that education won't come cheap. The best of education is something you pay for. So she thought of a foundation that will help the needy, and a school that will be international first class.
So I thought that if I can get a school right next to the home and then build the school to an international standard, the school runs on its own, expectedly to make profit, but every proceed to the last penny will be plowed to manage the home, to take care of the children.
There are two aspects of this establishment or this institution. One is totally a motherless babies home. Another is a school. And in this school, we have the nursery, the primary, and the secondary. And the essence of the whole thing is to get funding from this school to help the home.
A school that will be run properly, professionally, not for big profit, but whatever it generates as what would have been the profit will be plowed into giving quality education and livelihood to indigents, orphans, motherless babies. That's what it is. So it's an integrated charity system.
They say the most important step of all is the first step. Obi has taken the first step, and Crowning Grace Home Foundation and Schools is where it has led. But where the journey leads from here will no doubt be by the conscious, consistent, and collective efforts of all who identify as compassionate humans.
Life is worth fighting for. If you fight, you miss it, you surrender to fate. But it will be worse that you don't even have an opportunity to fight.
As a BOT member, I will do everything that is humanly possible, because what is actually needed at this time is financial help.
I want to really be part of it, advise when there is need for, and as well as support when it becomes necessary.
I bring, by the grace of God, experience of service, helping to interpret the vision and to practicalize it.
People will yield totally to it because I know it's a good cause. And for everyone that sows into it, there's no doubt that we'll be blessed.
When you see someone in need and you help that person, it is Christ you are doing it for.
I see it as a great fertile land. Because in the first place, God said if you give to the fatherless, to the motherless, to the needy, you are lending to God. And no one lends to God that God does not pay 1,000 times more.
Every time someone asks me where I'm from, I fight the urge to explain that I do not have a specific place I call home. My home is not one structure. My home is made up of heartbeats, hugs, words of affirmation, complete acceptance and belonging. So the next time someone asks me where I'm from, I think the right answer is, I am from where I am loved.